You spend less on the home, keeping our interest rate, beneficiaries. Look, I know y'all. Sorry, guys. I know y'all see me in here, but check out this interview. This interview, we're gonna interview somebody who's a father, a brother, a spouse, everything. But most importantly, he's a financial guru as well as a tax preparer. So if you need your taxes done, come see him. But we got Jatavious Jackson today. So simply put, I'm gonna need your help, brother, because I don't know. I'm trying to get right. If you're trying to get right, tune in. Yeah, I lost my podcast, but I need to find you, Jatavious. Let's do this. All right, so welcome first and foremost to the podcast. We thank you for being here. We want to get everything started, kicked off. Could you and would you formally introduce yourself for the audience and the people, the listeners, the viewers?
Yeah, sure. Jatavious Jackson. I'm the owner, CEO, First Take Financial Services here in Clarksville, Tennessee, 1989, Madison Street, Suite 122. I'm a Clarksville native. Went to Austin P. Got my bachelor's, got my master's from Walden University. Tax preparer, credit repair specialist, and a public notary.
Marvelous, marvelous. We love it, brother. And we, like I said, we thank you for being here. Thank you for opening up your space to talk to us today on the I Lost My podcast. So first and foremost, we like to start everything with a mental health check-in. How are you feeling today, man? Be honest.
Well, I'm good. Tired from working, but you know that comes with the territory. But other than that, mentally, I'm good. Emotionally, spiritually, I'm good.
And as you know, this podcast is centered around grief and healing and working through certain problems. So we typically bring up loved ones in this situation. Which loved ones do you come to mind that you may have grieved loss of, or things of that nature?
Two in particular, of course, Kelvin Little, my brother, you know, my frat brother, my family. And then I had a cousin, Justin, that I lost a little over 10 years ago, almost about 10 years ago. Those two for sure. And my grandmother, I'd say that's the icing on the cake.
G-Mama, is that the grandma from Mississippi?
Yeah, my father's mother.
Okay. Now, the grandma from Mississippi used to get you right?
Oh, yeah. She ain't playing no games.
Yeah.
At all.
So, for those that never met the loved ones that you just, introduced to us, how would you describe who they were as a person, as the people?
Well, Biscuit, Kelvin, I would describe as probably one of the silliest big guys you'll meet. Someone who, I guess how they call them, gentle giants. That was more of his thing. His stature didn't really show his heart, I would say. As far as my cousin Justin, he was kind of similar, but he was also like, probably took people off a little bit how intelligent he was. But he was definitely kind of like a gentle giant himself. And then my grandmother just was a strong-willed African-American woman. Right. So hard work, could do everything a man could do probably. But she was definitely a soldier.
Love it. So we got three people now. Three people. So I need for each of them, what is your favorite memory? Or one memory, I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of hard to pinpoint your favorite, but what's one memory that you just, for each one, or two of them, however many we want to share?
Well, with Kelvin, I think it might have been right after we started college or somewhere around there. His apartment burned down, and he was kind of discouraged by it. You're already in the hood and you lose pretty much everything. So of course, knowing him, he don't want money from his boys. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna give him something. You know what I'm saying? Sentimental, let him know. Yeah. I love him. So I had a throwback jersey, a Larry Bird high school throwback jersey, and he wanted it. When I first got it, I was like, man, this is kind of big. I ain't gonna wear it. He said, man, that's hard. I want that. You know what I'm saying? So, one day I went and picked him up, or went to go pick him up, and I just happened to have a jersey with me. I'm like, man, you can have it. And he was happy, but how, as a man, you try to make it like, oh, thanks, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the funniest thing about it was, Whenever he wore the jersey, he ain't wear no shirt under it. So I was always on his head about it. I'm like, man, your nipples gonna slip out, man. The jersey big. So for him, with Kelvin, that's that. With Justin, man, he's more than half of the reason I even got into doing music at a young age. That's all he pushed on me, man. Like, he was the Fruity Loop. Let's do some beats. Come on, cuz. Let's rap. And the number one memory with him is moving to another side of town, going to another school, and then just ultimately taking over the school with like one song. Damn. Everybody knew who we were. That was one of my dopest memories with him before he passed. And then my grandmother, I just remember visiting, and you had to be on your game. Right. You got out the bed and your feet hit the floor, and the sheets wasn't tucked and the bed wasn't made. She come in with a switch. So she was straight Mississippi. Wasn't no let up. I never seen her complain. She had animals, land. She did all that by herself. So her, it's just countless memories of just seeing a strong woman be a strong woman.
Okay. So can you describe to me, as far as the day it looked like with like a passing, like their passing, or like, do you remember them vividly? Mm-hmm. Can you go and just describe that day for us, son?
Kelvin's passing was like probably out of those two, like the one that kind of like, whoa. Just playing. We played ball Saturday. Joked like we always do. Like, man, I need to get in the gym with you. I'm like, yeah, come on, man. You know, I'm getting up. He's like, I ain't getting up early, bro. I'm like, well, you ain't going to the gym. And then Monday, just being at work and getting a phone call from a young lady that knew of him. I didn't know it was an issue or anything going on because of how she sounded. Right. But she only had so much information. The job called and said he had fell out. Mm-hmm. So I'm just thinking he tired or something. And then they added he hit his head. So now I'm worried because I'm like, you don't just fall out and hit your head. He had to pass out. So I was putting it together in my head thinking, oh, he's straight. So the first thing I thought was, let me leave work. I left work, went to get his mom, and we just drive and she's praying. I'm talking about the entire ride. You know, he's okay. He's all right. I'm just going to pray, and, you know, and then just pulling up. And, you know, being in the room next to his body and just seeing him. But it was actually kind of like not funny. It was just weird because even in that moment, I was like, damn, he was fresh. He had on like these, he never liked dress shoes. Mm-hmm. And he had on the freshest shiny black dress shoes. But I had to make something out of that moment to keep me from, you know, going into a space mentally where you just don't want to get out of. So I'll never forget that. Just seeing I was right there with his body, seeing his mama, you know, cry, and hearing her say some things that just shocked me, like what he meant to her. That day, you know, it was a tough day. My cousin, he had Hodgkin's lymphoma, so one visit I went to see him, he was smaller, he had lost weight, he was a bulkier guy. He remembered me, asked me about my brothers, told me he loved me. He had never told me that before. So I could just tell he kind of knew something was going on. And then I came and seen him again. A couple weeks later, he was in the bed, unresponsive really. And so it kind of clicked at that point, but I had faith. And then as soon as I left, the next day his sister called and said he got less than 24 hours. So I went back up to see him. He was, you know, basically it was a wrap. So, you know, I kind of was hurt then. And Marcus came too. Marcus actually came. So he probably doesn't remember that. He probably does. But that day was kind of like I seen it. Oh, my bad. That day I kind of seen it. What was it? My grandmother. She had Alzheimer's, so sometimes I'd call and she'd get me confused with my brothers. Mm-hmm. And then she was on hospice, I believe. So, and then her age, you know, you just kind of process things mentally instead of trying to tell yourself something different.
So as far as, I just looking back over the three, you kind of, it was two that you could kind of process, right? or
Yeah.
kind of foresee that, you know, age or sickness, but the one was just, it was kind of like a shell shock.
Yeah, it was devastating.
So can you describe, I mean, my bad, excuse me, moving in the past, trying to work in the now. But have you allowed yourself to grieve those losses?
Oh yeah, yeah. I sometimes have a too strict mentality, I guess. I would hear because I know, you know, that's a part of life. It's a part you can't control.
Right.
But the emotions I have for people, whether it be death or something happening to them, they'll know. You know, so those people knew that I loved them. So losing them, I knew I can't hold that in. So I had plenty of time, even for the one I didn't see coming.